Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. B&B spoilers. Brooke's renewed fears as Thomas begins to spin out. The bold and the beautiful spoilers document that Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, has been on the soapy roller coaster again. She was rescued by Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye, in Italy after nearly drowning. That led to their rushed remarriage. Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, said he was honored to be part of this latest reunion. B&B's resident officiant remarried the often married couple in the Forrester Creations executive offices. With that, this soap opera's most often married couple is reunited again. However, looming over this joyful reunion is one mad son. Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, fresh off his engagement collapse, is angry that his mother was wronged by his dad and blames Brooke for it. Eric Forrester, John McCook, mentioned that nuptials in the Forrester Creations executive suite were a first. Many weddings have been held in Eric's living room at his palatial estate, as longtime fans know. But Ridge apparently didn't care about not having a license, with the laws in this version of California seemingly being incredibly lax. Of course, marriage is hardly a sacrament on B&B, especially where Ridge and Brooke are concerned. They've made and broken 8 vows, so the latest revival might start the clock ticking, and viewers have to wonder if this is finally the union that will endure. Yet, even if it doesn't, they would seem destined to continue the reunification pattern indefinitely. Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, pressured Ridge to get engaged. She asked him to pledge to tie the soapy knot. He hesitated. Some commercials played or were digitally skipped during a time-shifted or later viewing, and then agreed. That was the mistake Ridge made. If he hadn't agreed to remarry the woman he fathered 3 children with, she wouldn't be as crushed now. But Ridge was willing himself into a corner, and Eric knew it. He soundly called his adopted son out repeatedly. Eventually, Ridge knew his dad was right and did what was necessary, but it was messy, with collateral damage abounding. Steffi Forrester Finnegan, Jacqueline McSingswood, is on a vacation, clearing her head with the kids. Her return will lead to more emotional gut punches. But until the above happens, Thomas is leading the charge against Brooke. Thomas holds Brooke accountable because he believes his father cannot control himself. Thinking that Brooke is Ridge's puppeteer is juvenile, which reinforces Thomas' lack of emotional development and continued danger to those who are perceived as wronging him or his family. The truth is that Ridge loves Brooke more than Taylor and always has, despite all the marriages to both women. Thomas refuses to accept that fact and is a threat to Brooke, who knows his history of instability, which includes committing many crimes. This site is a leading source for everything linked to the bold and the beautiful. Check back regularly for B&B spoilers and news. The rhythm of the bold and the beautiful has always danced between passion and peril, and this week, that balance tilts again toward danger. Brooke Logan has spent decades fighting for her family, her love, and her peace of mind. But nothing has rattled her soul quite like the storm that swirls whenever Thomas Forrester begins to unravel. And now, as old wounds reopen and troubling patterns emerge, Brooke finds herself gripped by renewed fears that Thomas is about to spin out all over again. The calm before the storm. For months, Thomas has been the picture of progress. He returned to Forrester Creations with an apparent clarity of mind, a newfound discipline that earned him both Ridge's cautious pride and Hope's growing trust. He was steady, dependable, even, dare Brooke admit it, sincere. Hope's fashion line thrived under his creative genius, and for once, Thomas seemed focused on his career and fatherhood, rather than his obsession with Hope. But if there's one thing Brooke has learned through her years of battling the shadows in her family's orbit, it's that peace on the bold and the beautiful rarely lasts. She's been watching, quietly, carefully, noting the subtle changes in Thomas, the quick temper flashing behind his eyes, The lingering looks at Hope that felt just a touch too intense, the way to smile faltered when things didn't go his way. For Ridge, these were normal frustrations. For Hope, they were quirks she'd long learned to manage. But for Brooke, they were red flags waving in the wind. A mother's instinct. Brooke's fears have never been baseless. She remembers too well the manipulations, the schemes, the mannequin obsession that sent Thomas spiraling into the darkest corners of his psyche. She remembers Hope's tears, the risks to Douglas, the weight of Ridge's denial. So when Hope walked into the living room with a distracted smile, casually mentioning that Thomas had been pushing longer hours, skipping meals, and growing increasingly impatient with anyone who questioned his ideas, Brooke's heart stopped cold. It was happening again. Her instincts screamed it, even as Ridge dismissed her concerns. "Logan, don't do this. He's worked hard to get better. You can't hold the past against him forever." But Brooke wasn't holding the past against Thomas. She was recognizing the patterns of a man whose grip on stability might be slipping. She knew what it looked like when Thomas began to spiral, and she wasn't about to let Hope be caught in the wreckage again. Hope's blind spot. The complication, of course, is Hope herself. After years of conflict, Hope and Thomas found a fragile balance. He became her design partner, her sounding board, her support when Liam faltered. Against all odds, Hope began to see a side of Thomas she hadn't allowed herself to before, a father devoted to Douglas, a visionary designer, and perhaps, though she wouldn't say it out loud, a man capable of love that wasn't rooted in obsession. So when Brooke raised her concerns, Hope shook her head. "Mom, Thomas has changed. He's not the same man he used to be. He's been nothing but supportive. You're not giving him a fair chance." It was the same argument Ridge used, the same defense Steffi often mounted. But Brooke wasn't blind to the truth. Love, whether romantic or platonic, makes people blind to danger. And Hope was the most vulnerable of all, because Thomas's charm had slowly, steadily worn down her resistance. The more Brooke pressed, the more Hope pushed back, and in that tension, Thomas found the very opening he needed. The cracks in the facade. At Forrester Creations, the signs became impossible to ignore. Thomas grew irritable when models questioned his instructions. He snapped at Zend for offering suggestions. He spent late nights at the office, alone, muttering to himself as he sketched. Pam noticed, whispering to Charlie that it feels like old times, and not in a good way. Then came the incident with Douglas. The boy, excited about a school project, asked his father for help. But Thomas, wrapped up in a new design, dismissed him with a distracted, "Not now, buddy, Daddy's busy." The hurt in Douglas's eyes didn't go unnoticed by Hope, who later brought it up gently. That's when Thomas snapped. "Don't make me out to be the bad guy, Hope. Everything I do is for you, for us, for this line. You think I don't care about Douglas? You think I don't know what I'm doing? You sound just like your mother." The moment the words left his mouth, Thomas regretted them. He apologized quickly, promised it wouldn't happen again, swore he was just tired. Hope accepted, because that's what she does. But Brooke, she heard about the fight and saw it for what it was, the mask slipping. Brooke versus Ridge. The renewed friction between Brooke and Ridge has become another fracture line in this storyline. Brooke is adamant, Thomas is spiraling, and they need to intervene before something terrible happens. Ridge, forever torn between his love for Brooke and his loyalty to his son, refuses to believe it. "You're looking for trouble where there isn't any," Ridge argued. "Thomas has come too far. I won't let you drag him down just because you don't trust him." But Brooke stood her ground. "It's not about trust, Ridge, it's about reality. I've seen this before. You have too. And if you don't stop defending him blindly, you're going to lose more than your pride. You could lose your son. Hope could lose everything." Their voices echoed through the mansion, the tension between love and loyalty tearing them apart once again. The path ahead. As the spoilers tease, Thomas's spiral is only beginning. His behavior will become increasingly erratic, and the line between brilliance and obsession will blur once more. Hope will find herself caught in the crossfire, torn between defending the man who's helped her grow and facing the possibility that Brooke is right. For Brooke, the coming weeks will be a test of endurance. She'll fight tooth and nail to protect her daughter and grandson, even if it means alienating Ridge. Her greatest fear, that history will repeat itself, is no longer a distant nightmare but a creeping reality. And for Thomas, the path ahead is darker still. Will he find the strength to rein himself in before it's too late? Or will his old demons drag him back into the abyss he's fought so hard to escape?